cameras, a vital tool in the fight against crime. We bring you the best and worst of what they capture.
Take him out, please. Take him out.
In this edition, the eye in the sky. We take to the air with the flying force. On police, camera, action. Coming up, motorbike crooks caught on camera.
In fact, policeman's got him.
Rush hour chaos. And reading the Riot Act. Tonight, a special programme on police helicopters. Weighing in at 1.5 tonnes and costing around £4 million, some may think that they're nothing more than an expensive toy. But in the past 20 years, they have revolutionised the way police do their job. Adrian Simpson is with Cambridgeshire Police to find out why a helicopter is near the top of every Chief Constable's shopping list.
For half a century, the police have had to rely on the expertise of pursuit drivers. Their skill behind the wheel allows them to keep up with suspects and bring criminals to justice. The arrival of onboard cameras meant that they could record evidence of those lawbreakers, leaving no question in court of the crimes they committed. But not all pursuits prove to be that simple, especially if the suspect in question seems to have knowledge of the local area. Gloucestershire Police are trying to get to grips with the driver of this Audi A4. Hurtling along at well over 70 miles an hour, there's serious concern that other road users could get hurt. According to police pursuit guidelines, officers have to weigh up the risk of injury to any person, including the person being pursued. If it's considered greater in comparison to the offence, a pursuit may be discontinued. In this case, it seems that the suspect's misjudgment may be about to terminate this pursuit anyway. He's turned into a car park. It looks like he's cornered. But the suspect takes off across a park and crashes through a hedge. It's given him time to get out of sight, leaving the police at a loss. Luckily, crafty criminals like this are few and far between. But in these circumstances, the police needed a method of pursuit that was not restricted by roads. The first police helicopter unit was introduced in 1962 by Durham Constabulary. Since then, the eye in the sky has become a familiar sight in every major town and city. The helicopter is able to cover greater distances in less time than ground units, revolutionising the way in which the police tackle pursuits. Once on the scene, as we'll see, the helicopter crew have an array of specialist equipment at their disposal. With the benefit of height, a police helicopter has the best possible vantage point. For officers on the ground, a field like this would take many hours to search, but for a helicopter, an area of 1 square mile can be searched in less than 12 minutes, making it a walk in the park for this one from North Midlands. They quickly spot this wanted man.
It's about 50 yards in front of you along that path. So the way I'm walking now then? That's it, keep walking.
Once in the air, helicopters are in the perfect position for spotting other lawbreakers. The Cambridgeshire Police Air Support Unit has spotted 2 bikers dangerously overtaking and decides to follow their antics from above. The stunts continue when these thrill-seekers decide to fly down this A-road at well over double the speed limit. When the bikers make a pit stop, it gives the crew the chance to call in the ground units.
Do not adjust your set. If you think the picture looks a bit wobbly, that's because it's being shot by a handheld camera a long way away. Now that's a much better picture because it's been taken by the helicopter's camera. And the reason why we've got such a rock-solid image is because it's being smoothed by a clever device called a gyro. So even if the helicopter is bobbling around hundreds of feet in the air, we still get a pin-sharp picture. Not only that, but it can be switched instantly to thermal imaging, so we can see heat instead of light.
Left, left, left. Right, stop. It's in there.
It's a cold December night and a frail old lady is missing from a nursing home. She'd gone out for a walk and not come back. A ground search of the heavy undergrowth has failed to find her. With the temperature dropping sharply, it could soon be too late.
It's next door with subdued lighting over the front.
The Chiltern Air Support helicopter scours the area with their thermal imaging camera.
There is a heat source in the next garden.
The observer spots a small heat source,
Probably too small for a person. It's probably...
but it seems too faint to be a living person.
That was a... Oh, well done. The heat source in the backyard. Yeah.
Sure enough, it is the missing woman, and they found her just in time.
And they want an ambulance to Thickets.
Well done, Andy.
OK.
Yeah.
Well done, Matt. Thank you. What was she doing? She fallen down something? She'd fallen in a pond.
Without the help of the helicopter, the woman would almost certainly have died from hypothermia. When the cameras are not saving lives, they can be used to gather evidence of criminal activity.
Yeah, we've got a ground unit we can get there fairly sharpish. There's 4 people with it.
High in the sky, North Midlands Air Support is able to get pin-sharp images of 4 suspects making off with a stolen motorbike.
They're on a path coming out of Broxtowe, which goes adjacent to Amesbury Circus.
The helicopter crew keep track of the youths until ground units arrive. But the lads realise they're being watched.
Yeah, they've dumped it now.
They head for cover and dump the bike.
Yeah, I've got 4 runners now, 4 runners.
But they can't hide from the thermal camera, which can see them through the trees.
The dog man's just coming on to Eltham. Can you guide him in, please?
They attempt to fool the air support by going their separate ways.
Split up now.
They're no match for the air observer, whose skills and experience allow him to direct officers to their location.
Yeah, on your right now. 2 of them, both in grey.
2 down and 2 to go.
Right, dog man, there's one at the junction there, just turning left, back a little, he's the other one, he's the 3rd one.
The 3rd suspect is apprehended, just 1 more to go.
Follow that to the end, there's a biker, he's right at the end now.
Police seal off the area and soon the 4th youth is arrested.
In fact, police van's got him.
With cameras like this, it's hard for any crime to go undetected. Such high-tech equipment means life for criminals is getting tougher and tougher.
This is the Cambridgeshire helicopter, and I'm with Andy, who's an air observer with the Air Operations Unit. Andy, what sort of hardware has this helicopter got?
It's got various pieces of police roll equipment on the helicopter, this being one of them. This is the night sun torch that we use to carry out our searches during the hours of darkness. 30 million candle power, so quite a powerful piece of equipment.
So what does that mean in my terms?
We could light up an area the size of a football pitch and make it complete daylight.
Unbelievable. Right, what else have you got?
Underneath on the belly of the helicopter there's a pod with some various electrical equipment, one being a tracker device to help us locate stolen vehicles, and also a PA system, a public announcement system.
And when would you make a public announcement in a helicopter?
Perhaps we would go down over a village if we're searching for a missing person. We could pass descriptions over to members of the public, and they could obviously assist us in searching for that person.
And I take it that's what it's all about?
Yeah, that's the main piece of police roll equipment really on the aircraft. That's our camera system. It's got a daylight camera on there and also a thermal camera, so we can search equally as well at night time as we can in the day.
So that camera defines your role, doesn't it?
It does really, yes. It's a very good search tool for us, and obviously we use it to gather evidence as well.
The powerful beam of the night sun could never be more important than in a nighttime rescue. In Lancashire, 2 boys are missing in the River Rune. They'd gone into the water to get their football, but the soft mud began to suck them under.
For your information, the object floating downstream was a football over.
With the water rising quickly, the helicopter uses its heat-sensitive camera to zero in on the missing boys. They use their night sunlight to point the rescue boat directly to the boys, so they can move in quickly before they disappear under the water. Once again, the time saved by using the helicopter has meant that lives have been saved. Time is something these thieves in Minnesota are running out of. They tear through the local traffic without a care for other motorists. The helicopter above is able to capture the whole sorry journey right up to its dramatic conclusion. Coming up, a bird's eye view of a violent carjacking.
There,
A rubbish place to hide,
behind the bin, behind the dustbin.
and car vandals take a beating. Coming up, dangerous driving spotted from the air. You can run, but you can't hide.
Stand by, 3 persons have all come out of the address.
And public order gone mad.
Yeah, the situation is escalating out of control. There was a large fire now in the middle of the road.
Tonight on Police Camera Action, we're with the Eye in the Sky taking a closer look at the technology that makes helicopters a vital tool in the fight against crime. In the past, criminals have used many elaborate tricks to slip the net. This 4x4 in Lincolnshire has failed to stop. After crashing through a roadblock, it disappears across open fields. This kind of frustrating pursuit should become a thing of the past. Every UK police force now has access to at least one helicopter. But it's not just the police who have eyes in the sky. In parts of the US, criminals are more likely to find themselves pursued by a news chopper than a police chopper. Here in LA, the sister of a carjacker has rushed into the road to try and stop him doing something stupid. But he speeds away, blowing a tyre in the process. He charges head-on into stationary traffic, using the truck like a battering ram. One bump too many and the truck is finished, but not the thief. He ruthlessly carjacks another vehicle with the driver still on board. Deciding there's only room for one on this madcap journey, the carjacker tries to push the owner out of the car. But he's still wearing his seatbelt. It's a very narrow escape. This is one ride that's attracting a lot of attention. A stream of police vehicles is now on his tail. With 2 carjackings under his belt, this thief is unlikely to stop without a fight. He guns it along the highway at over 100 miles an hour, weaving in and out of traffic as he goes. This may be a road to nowhere, but it's going to be a long one. The pursuit is now into its 2nd hour. He's tried one trick too many. The carjacker finally loses control. Running from the vehicle, he takes on the busy highway traffic in a game of chicken. But this larger-than-life villain struggles to get over the high perimeter fence. He's surrounded.
I'm having my first helicopter flying lesson to try and appreciate just how difficult it is to fly a helicopter, and let me tell you, it's an unbelievable skill. I haven't got a clue what's going on, but to better put it in perspective, you can become a professional pilot with 200 flying hours. You can't even think about becoming a police helicopter pilot until you've got at least 3,500 flying hours under your belt. So they really are among the best there are. The reason why the pilot and helicopter are there in the first place is to allow the observer to do his job. It's his job to guide the pilot and guide the teams on the ground. So without him, an effective coordinated pursuit would be absolutely impossible. He really is the linchpin of the whole operation. If you want to become an air observer, you have to have been a police officer for at least 2 years and then make a written application. If they like your application, you're then invited to go for a medical fitness test. Then you get tested on orientation and observation, amongst other skills. And then you have a flying test, which tests your navigation. If you pass all that, you have to make a presentation, and finally, you're invited to interview.
In pursuit situations, police rely on the trained eye of the observer to spot suspects on the run. In South Yorkshire, this driver has failed to stop for police, and it's down to the observer to keep track of him.
How many occupants, please?
Yeah, 3 occupants.
As well as keeping an eye on the vehicle and directing ground units, the observer must follow everything with the camera.
He's going up towards Fairvale, he's cut across wasteland.
Often, ground units will hold back, allowing the helicopter to take up the pursuit, so reducing the pressure on the suspect. But in this case, it doesn't stop the driver from demonstrating the worst kind of dangerous driving.
Yankee 99.
Believing they've evaded capture, the suspects play right into the hands of police.
Pulling into a dead end.
All the observer has to do is report the address to ground units.
Yeah, Roger, it's the...
1 out, 2 out, 3 out, all from the rear passenger side, and just going into a building. We've got the building contained. I'll give you a road name when we can.
As ground units move in,
Stand by, 3 persons have all come out of the address.
the suspects decide to leave the house. The observer is able to give clear descriptions. Thanks to the clear camera images, there can be no dispute about who did what.
Yeah, to the motorcyclist, straight forward is the 3 units in front of you. All dark tops, one wearing light bottoms.
The vehicle was confiscated due to having no MOT, no tax and no insurance.
We've got them all on tape getting out of the car.
Delay date is on Forward Road.
The majority of car crime occurs at night, with many criminals preferring the cover of darkness to commit their crimes.
OK, take lights out. Continue straight on, straight on.
But car thieves in Nottingham have not calculated for the watchful eye of the North Midlands helicopter. Night or day makes no difference to this crime-fighting machine, as it uses thermal imaging cameras to follow the suspects.
Next right now, right. OK, we've got an abandoned, Turn right now, next right.
The thieves go into hiding, but their own body heat has shot them to the police.
OK, officers on the ground, come back to your vehicles, come back towards your vehicles. Keep coming, past the parked vehicle.
The observer directs officers on the ground straight to the driver's classy hideout.
Keep going forward, he's there. Turn right there.
Behind a wheelie bin.
Behind the bin, behind the dustbin. That's the driver, one arrested.
Another successful mission for the helicopter and its crew. Thanks to them, the driver was imprisoned for 3 months and given a 2-year supervision order, plus 150 hours community service. He was also disqualified from driving for 3 years.
In the past, the police used to have to rely on verbal communication from ground to air, but now things have moved on. Police helicopters are fitted with a microwave downlink transmitter, which allows the air observer to feed live pictures directly to the nearest police control room, like we can see here. It's got a range of 30 miles and has revolutionised the control of major situations because it allows the officer in charge to act on the latest information.
Downlinking proves invaluable at times of public disorder, where the risk to police is heightened. Violence has mysteriously erupted on an estate in Nottingham. North Midlands Air Support Unit has been scrambled. They can give an essential overview that's vital to officers on the ground as they work out how to deal with this incident safely.
Yes, we're going into Code 1 kit. Petrol bombs are still coming over, and there's a barricade in the middle of the road.
Thanks to the information supplied by the helicopter crew, officers decide to deploy Code 1 kit. In other words, full riot equipment. The helicopter is also able to record evidence of criminal activity, and that can be used later to bring those responsible to justice. The man below has been singled out as being the ringleader, so it's imperative that he is arrested as soon as possible. His leadership has led to barricades being set up by the crowd, who are destroying nearby properties to build their roadblocks. As well as recording the criminal damage, the helicopter's camera picks up the use of illegal drugs by some of the suspects, many of whom are very young.
Yeah, the situation is escalating out of control. There was a large fire now in the middle of the road. They are ripping fencing down. Disorder now, over.
Danger levels are rising as barricades are set alight and the crowd get more and more out of control. But it gets worse as members of the gang start attacking cars.
We're very exposed this end and we need some protection. Support from outside C Division at the moment. We certainly have a disturbance here. So when the force PSU mobilises, we require further 2 vans to our location to make us into PSU.
The only way to bring this situation to an end is to catch the ringleaders, one of which is busy vandalising a car.
They're just smashing it to pieces. It's on downlink.
It would seem that one member of the estate is not too happy with the day's events. The car's owner chases the ringleader and deals his own form of punishment. Quickly banished from the area, the ringleader returns to his horde of followers. The Observer discovers that the troubles have been sparked by the jailing of local gang leaders for plotting murders.
We've got it on. If you look at downlink, we've got two with the flag proclaiming to free. I assume that's what sparked these troubles.
Using the downlink technology, the Observer is able to notify Control that the main offender has changed his clothes.
The downlink now, if you look at the down, got white top on with dark sleeves. He has changed that shirt in the last 5 minutes. That lad wants nicking as soon as we can get in there. He's the main offender.
This information is then fed back to the Public Disorder Unit, who are waiting for the go-ahead to step in. As soon as they do, they're quick to separate and arrest the ringleader.
From Oscar Hotel 8, the one they're taking away now with the 135 is responsible for numerous offences earlier in the day, carrying offensive weapons, criminal damage, disorder, etc.
Further arrests quickly follow.
Yeah, that's one of them. There's one with a red and white horizontal striped top.
6 of the people involved were jailed, with the ringleader receiving 3.5 years in prison.
I would say you've got 3 most definite ones, but there are a number of others. Unfortunately, we're unable to remember them all, but they are on the tape for later.
Many others received supervision and detention orders, all thanks to the evidence recorded by the helicopter crew.
It's in just those sorts of dangerous situations that police helicopters really show their capabilities. The next generation of aircraft is set to be even more helpful to police. They're being fitted with ropes and winches. It means that officers and equipment, even police dogs, can be lowered virtually anywhere. It'll change dramatically the way police can deal with emergency situations and terrorist incidents. And that's it from Police Camera Action. So until next time, let's be careful out there.
After a suspect is found dead in his cell, apparently after a fatal blow administered by Doyle, a public inquiry is ordered. Tough times for the professionals tonight at 8. Next up, though, featuring interviews with police officers and suspects who provide an insight into why they run. It's Ultimate Police Chases.